So I found this man's post because he had made another post where he was talking about the separation of him and his wife. And I started going through his post history. So I'm going to start with this. This man puts in the Asian parent stories. I just now realized how much the Asian culture of comparison has effed me up in my adult life, even after my dad has admitted it was wrong of him. Understanding other people's cultures is so important because you look and like, why can't you be more like that? And we're doing that on an individual level and a cultural level, but everybody has issues that they have to deal with. So this man said, when I was a child, my parents, like many of your parents, obviously he's talking to other Asians, probably compared you a lot to other people, other kids. I grew up in a nice suburb with a good school, so a lot of Asian kids were ambitious. And because of that, many of them ended up going to good schools like Harvard, Duke, MIT, etc. It was just a constant comparison. Even into adult life, it was all look at their kid. They're now a VP at a private equity firm. Oh, they're a dentist now. My dad thought that me and my sibling not making it into an Ivy League school was a failure in his education of us. Now to this day, it still F's with me. I'm unhappy all the effing time because all I can do is compare myself with other people. I'm not making as much money as some of my peers. I haven't saved as much as some of my peers. I don't have a nice house, as nice of a house as some of my peers. And it eats me the F up. It's effed my happiness because I take my self value in my income and job and my material possessions. And my unhappiness has even bled into my marriage. And my wife and I are in a terrible spot right now because of that. The worst thing is that my dad has even seen it. He's seen my wife and I fight. My wife is content with our life while I'm not because I'm constantly comparing, like, but look at what so and so, we need to be like them. But now after my mother was diagnosed with cancer 3 years ago, and especially when she died a few months ago, he changed his mind completely. He said, I don't care if you and your wife live in a one-bedroom apartment with a dollar to your name, as long as you're happy. He's told me that he doesn't care if my sibling and I had gone to a community college, as long as we're happy, because that's all that matters in life. He says, well, that's fine and effing dandy, Dad, but that's too late. Your education has effed me up, and now I can't get out of it. This need to compare is basically like ingrained in me now. This need to compare and best others, even though I can't, eats me up every day, especially when the job market is ish right now and I can't find a higher paying job. My wife just sees how unhappy I am and is hurting my marriage. Even my dad admitted that he never knew that the way he raised me would come back and hurt me all these years later. This was definitely a lot. And I don't really have much to say. I just wanted to give a different perspective because, you see these really, really ambitious parents that are pushing, pushing, pushing. And then you see on the opposite end of the spectrum where some parents are just coddling, 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 where there really could be some middle ground and knowing and seeing and understanding that there are issues that come along with being on like really crazy ends of the spectrum is not good either way. But it and I'm sorry, and it really does harm people's mental health. Not having some kind of balance really does harm people. So you guys can weigh in. I am going to look at some of these comments. Clock Tower Echo says, I would suggest therapy. This sounds like someone that a therapist or a psychiatrist might be able to help with. It's cheaper and healthier in the long run than divorce and alcohol. Aside from that, as someone whose parents had the same arc of you must do well to just be happy, the one thing I will say is that there's always going to be someone above you in one thing and below in another. You have a job and a wife, which is something some people here would dream of. Compared to a dude on the street, you are doing pretty well. But compared to like Jeff Bezos, we're all failures because we don't have trillions in net worth. You have to ask what the end goal or point of all this comparison is. At one point, will you be happy and stop comparing. When you become Jeff Bezos, is that next promotion really going to fix every new car or house? Going to really make you feel better? A slightly nicer suit going to fill all the holes in your soul? If you're comparing to motivate yourself, but all it's doing is making you depressed, I would think it's time to reconsider. Good motivation should put you forward, not be a burden. The only person you should be comparing yourself to is your past self, because you don't know what those other people had to do, what sacrifices they made, what they hide behind their smiles, what they shove on their closets. You don't know what keeps them up at night or has them crying over a glass of wine. You don't know what impossible windfalls or cosmic stroke of luck propelled them further beyond what you could naturally achieve. All the finery in the world doesn't matter if you can't look at yourself in the mirror and smile at your reflection. That's all fine and good. This is a good platitude to have, to think about, to motivate. But it's really hard to unlearn everything that was ingrained in you in your childhood. And that's what this man has to get past. Yes, he should only be comparing himself to his past self. That is great to say. Rah, rah, let's go. But he has to unpack all that his dad like beat him over the head with. It's going to be hard to unpack that. So this is the post that made me start looking through that man's post history. He says, "Do you guys see separation as free reign to sleep with other people?" He posted this in the marriage subreddit. He says, "My wife decided to separate from me while I work on personal issues. Legally married still. She's just living elsewhere right now. We are working through things to reconcile our relationship, and I'd love for us to get back together. We haven't had X for 2 months now, and part of that was because she gave birth to our child, so she was recovering. I miss the X in intimacy with her and cuddling with her afterwards. But I've seen posts on here in the past where people have been like, we were separated for a few months and I slept with so and so, or I decided to experiment around to see if I still wanted to be with my spouse. Unless people are interchangeably using the word separation and divorce, with divorce, I can see that because you are legally no longer with that person and your relationship is over and done for and signed on the paper. Okay, after reading through his post history and some of the comments, he is not saying that he wants to go out and sleep with other people. And I don't think that he is worried about his wife doing that. He's just wondering because he is a big Redditor. He has a big post history. He is in Reddit a lot. So maybe he's just thinking that, is that what people are doing? Is that what separation means? He's just asking questions. This person, Machiko, is the reason why I went through and started looking through his post history, because Machiko says this has to be fake. You separated while she's freshly postpartum, taking care of your baby, and claim to want to get reconciliation. Get your ish together. But his wife left him, not the other way around. His wife left him while he works through his problems. The people reading this didn't get it right in the comments. The OP says it's not fake. What the F? And we're taking turns taking care of the baby. And he really is taking care of the baby, or at least he seems to be, because he is heavily posting in a parenting subreddit asking for help and asking for advice. Okay, so this person says, why are you even asking this question? She's literally postpartum and taking care of your newborn while you get your ish together. I don't know why you're asking this, but experimenting X with someone else right now is probably very far down the priority list. And then the OP says, I'm asking out of curiosity. I never said in my post that I wanted to experiment. It was a question out of curiosity because I've seen people do that. So people are misunderstanding this man, but I put these two together because I wanted to make it clear, or just put it all together, that things that you go through in your childhood, your mental stability, your parents, your childhood, all of that can impact you in the future. Not having balance as a parent, teaching your kids to not have balance, to just be go, 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 to get that good job. It could literally impact them like this is impacting this man's marriage right now. All right, all of that to say, I know that there's some really good point that I was making with all of this, but you guys go ahead, comment, let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. I was scrolling through Reddit this morning and I came across this post and I was like, are we living in topsy-turvy world or what? You guys are going to see what I mean. This man posted this in the dating advice subreddit. So this is what he says: 28 male, 26 female. He says, girl I'm seeing told me I have a small peen. All right, he says, pretty much the title. I've never really felt insecure down there. I thought I was slightly above average, just under 7 inches. After we had smecks, we were laying in bed, I still had a boner, and she said, look how small it is, and laughed. After she saw that it bothered me, she pulled the whole, it's perfect, the big ones hurt. Why? Listen to this. Why do some women think it's okay to comment on our bodies, especially if it's something completely out of our control? Weird how it's okay to laugh at short guys. I'm 6 feet tall, so fortunately, no worries here for me, but still. And guys with small peens, where it's completely out of a guy's control. Because do women not get people just randomly saying stuff about our bodies? What is this topsy-turvy world? Okay, okay. Like, it's so socially acceptable to say, he must have have small D energy, etc., or calling men manlets, short kings, Lord Farquaad, etc. I know it goes both ways, but it just seems it's more socially acceptable to bash men. All the dating app bios say no guys under 6 feet. If you're under X inches, you better be funny and know how to use your mouth. Y'all, are we in topsy-turvy world? Guys would get so much hate if they made theirs no girls over 90 kilograms or no A cups, please. But if a guy were to call someone overweight, you would be eaten alive for body shaming, something that you can control. Double standards baffle me. I wonder how a girl would react if I said something like, you look like a roast beef sandwich down there, and then play it off like I'm joking. I love roast beef sandwiches. They are perfect. So are we going to act like negging doesn't happen, that negging isn't a pickup artist thing, that men have cultivated down to a science to where they're teaching other men to do this, where they like try to downgrade a woman and knock down her self-esteem? Are we going to act like that in this world? Are we really living in that world to where women's bodies are not consistently picked apart simply by showing up somewhere, simply by posting a picture that gives men full reign on a woman? Are we going to act like that? I don't know if this post is real or not. I don't know if this post is like, oh my God, you're 7 inches? That is average. That's above that. Like, are you just looking? Is this person just fishing for compliments? I don't know. But that's what it seems like. But regardless, this just got me chuckling a little bit. I do want you guys to weigh in, but let's look at some of these comments. Slum Slug says, 26 years old, she knows what she's doing, man. Just move on. It's not worth the headache. I own the short bus says, I'd wager negging or trying to demean him in some weird and twisted way. Move on. Size queens ain't queens. So men are now talking about negging to each other in their community. This is funny too. I would ditch her on the spot. This makes you realize she lacks emotional intelligence and is very unaware of basic social interactions. Do you want to be with someone like this? Smush Mole Small Bean says, people don't ditch them on the spot when they're cuddling in bed post X. Touch grass. Okie dokie says, it's just a phrase, dude. Apprehensive Toe says, I guess they made a hyperbole. Chill. Damn. Okay, so Thick Performance says, I was about to say, there are very few women who would look at a 6.5 inch peen and say that it was small. Complete BS story. Maybe if it was 4.5 to 5 inches. And then Tennis Fanatic says, exactly. Average size is 5.5. And then the OP says, nope, not making things up. I'm not 7 inches, just under at 17 centimeters. I'm aware of averages, but it's different when the person you are seeing or have feelings for makes a comment like that to you while literally looking at your peen. Also, on a side note, how do they even go about calculating those averages? What is their sample size? Like, hey, let's all go get our erect peens measured at the peen census. So yeah, I just take that data with a pinch of salt. And the wild thing about this is that these people think so much about this. I've never seen a group of women that are going around talking about the size of our appendages. It's just not happening. Okay, this is the last screenshot. Jay McGill says she was trying to be mean to you. No way she didn't know that would hurt you. Yes, because this never happens the other way around. Technical Goal says, I'm sorry that happened to you. There's obviously double standards. Okay to call a guy short or bald, but you never comment on a woman's weight or body in general. Maybe someday that will change. By the way, average peen is 5.2. You are in the 95% at your size. It's because women's bodies are not talked about. Like, where are these people living? Um, and then Melbourne Man says, making herself feel better by putting you down. Yeah, these women these days. These women these days. Okay, y'all, chime in. Let me know what you think about this. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Y'all, so this woman posted this in the BurbNBougie subreddit, and it definitely got me chuckling. She says, Incel narcs have too much confidence. Sorry if I post to the wrong sub. This was absolutely the right sub to post in. Okay, so she's 21, he's 32, and look, they matched on Monday. He says, I can pick you up somewhere and we'll find a spot. A spot to screw is what he's saying. He says, can I see you tonight? They are literally using these apps to try to get some nookie. She says, you're like 3 hours away. I don't want a quick F either. I don't get off being used as a fleshlight just for you to be pleasured and me not at all. Do you even eat or play with the effing peaches? He says, who hurt you? My body count is high AF, and with women that look like models and are homeowners. You're broke and live with your parents. I mean, I'm 6'2" with hazel eyes and a killer smile and unique facial character quirks. Don't get upset when you knew my intention. You said sure like a dumbass. You sound stupid now, hence why you're single. Okay, he's on a dating app and he's 6'2" with hazel eyes with and a killer smile. And he knows all these models and homeowners. So why is he single? She says, 32 talking to a 20-year-old. The F. I want good X, not a quick hookup, you dumb F. You're a narc with how highly you think of yourself trying to tear down a 21-year-old when you're a grown man. Grow the F up. You're pathetic. No wonder you're single with your personality. You work at Costco. At least I'm working on a degree. And that's the end of the text messages that she shared. This is the 6'2", 32-year-old with a quirky but killer smile. She read him for filth. And I'm really wondering why this man that's 6'2" with hazel eyes is single and trying to degrade this 21-year-old. So weird. He knows all these models. So she says, dating apps are self-harm at this point. I know women benefit nothing from hookups, so why am I still trying for them when men don't care about my pleasure to begin with? Yes, at this point, it is self-harm. You should just walk away, delete the apps. Honey Bunches of See You Next Tuesdays says, this is why I think celibacy isn't even that hard for women. X toys and romance novels will get you off better than 99% of men. JYQE says, when I tried it, I lost all interest in men. Her Majesty says, why is it so true? Or Be Forever says, that dude looks older than 32. But yeah, I know what you mean. A guy I met at work was trying to hook up with me after I no longer worked there. He was one of those dudes who thought being super busy was a badge of honor. Anyway, he was trying to talk me into letting him come over here for X on his lunch break. He was all, it'll be quick, like 5 minutes. I laughed so hard, I was like, no, that doesn't sound like fun at all. No, thank you. Then he got all offended. He was like, of course, I don't mean literally 5 minutes. No, dude, you really do. Even if your lunch break is a whole entire hour, driving here and driving back would leave no more than 15 minutes. No, thank you. Alizia says, or Alizia, I'm so glad you're protecting yourself at 21. If only I had learned that young to protect myself from these men, maybe I wouldn't be in such a terrible situation mentally right now. At least I've got it good financially. That's my one saving grace. Last time I slept with one of those good looking, amazing dudes. I got BV for 3 months. That was in May. I swore off X for the next 6 months. So the next time I would be on the market would be November, December. But I'm not so sure I even will be available at that time because I'm enjoying not having X just a little too much. Dexamphetamine says these apps are just meat markets, I've learned. Funny, so many body counts, and not one of them were actually satisfied enough to stay, not even enough to call back and be a FWB. No Disaster says models and homeowners. Someone sounds stupid in this combo, and it isn't you. Awesome Possum says, oh, I've run into people like this. God, they're cringy. I ran to this post. I was like, this happened to you? Dexamethasone says, I know it's real, but also, how do these men say this ish and believe it? And then I said on the post again, I need to know more. Had y'all text before this? She said, just a little texting before I asked him if he even ate cat because he kept asking if we can meet up real quick, like he didn't live 3 hours away. And then I was just like, this is wild. I knew for a fact this was going in today's YouTube videos. All right, y'all, join the conversation. Are you still on these apps? Just we're gonna have to just walk away at this point because this is getting bad. Join the conversation, like, comment, and share.
Can somebody explain what the luteal phase means? I just asked the girl on a date and she said no because she's in the luteal phase and to try again when she's in the follicular phase. I, I'm not great with astrology. I don't really know the zodiac signs. I didn't even know those were signs. Is that like when somebody says that their Aries is in moon or their sign is rising? Could somebody help me, please?